that, then you can talk about it and you can communicate with developers. That last part says collaborate seamlessly with developers. This is really important in getting hired in UX. And when you are interviewed, you'll very likely be asked, do you have experience collaborating with developers? That's a huge part of what I do every week. I am meeting with the product team, the engineering team, and the UX team all coming together because we need to talk about if what we're doing can actually be worked in on the development side. If you don't have this experience, you can get a group together from your training. You can get somebody who is in school for a developer position. You can be the UX designer. You can find a UI designer, find a UX researcher, put together a project, and then you can say, yes, I have collaborated with developers. You can also get this experience through internships or apprenticeships. So these are some key things that will really stand out. Numbers, knowing that you understand front-end development terminology, and that you can collaborate with the developers. And lastly, you want to personalize the cover letter for that specific company. I'm particularly drawn to this company. Why? It needs to be specific. You have to do some research. If you're using the same cover letter for every position, they will recognize that. A generic cover letter is not the way to go. They see that immediately, and it can be taken a couple of different ways. Maybe one, you're really not that interested in the company. You don't even know anything about the company. Or two, you're just being lazy. And I understand the job search process can be a job within itself, but this is super important, and it really shows them you are interested in working for them specifically. And at the end of this, it talks about looking forward to the possibility of contributing to your team. You always want to end your cover letter with a call to action. I look forward to meeting with you soon. I look forward to sharing my work with you and talking you through one of my case studies. Something like that. Always end with a call to action on your cover letter. Next, we're going to talk about a portfolio. It's not going to be a deep dive. There are past webinars I've done, and Career Foundry has a lot of resources around that. We're going to talk about some things to help you stand out amongst the competition. And one of the biggest things that I see lacking with new graduates is diversifying their projects. I was the same way. When I graduated, all I wanted to do was mobile. That's it. I was not interested in websites, anything else, only mobile. And when I had 3 or 4 or 5 case studies that were only mobile, it said, I don't understand website design. I don't understand any other products. So highlight and showcase your mobile app case studies, but go in and add a website case study. Almost all of the companies out there will have you working on one or the other or both. When I worked at Purina, I was heavily involved in mobile app development and heavily involved in their website. My current position is 100% website-based UX research work. So this is really important, and it's a great way to show that you can do something other than just mobile apps. And if you really want to stand out, I highly recommend doing a third project on IoT. That stands for Internet of Things. And what that means is you have a physical device that's connected to an app. So think of smart lights, smart doorbell, smart refrigerator. When I was with Purina, I was a lead researcher on their leading IoT product, which was a physical thing for cats, this physical product that was attached to a mobile app. You probably won't be able to get that experience until you're hired, but what you can do is a redesign. Think of a redesign of anything out there that's interesting to you, and then you can showcase that you have mobile app experience, website experience, and an IoT, a physical device experience. This will really help you stand out as a candidate. Next are just some tips that you probably already know, but maybe you don't think about it when you're building out your case studies. One of the things that I see a lot with new UXers is their case studies, their images are a little fuzzy, especially with their icons. So if you don't know how to export, look it up online, Google it, so you can export a high resolution image. You don't want it to be blurry. It needs to be super, super sharp. Easily overlooked, especially if you are looking at your case study over and over and over. You're thinking about everything that goes into it, and maybe you're not noticing that you don't have super sharp images. Another thing I recommend is using GIFs instead of a link to your prototype. If you put a link to your prototype and I go to it, I'm not familiar with your user flows. I don't know what to click on. I don't know what I'm looking at. And it can be really frustrating, especially if everything is not something that I can click on and take me immediately to something else. So instead, use GIFs. In the presentation, I'm limited to static images, but the two images you see, if you swipe to the right on the first image, the second image shows it automatically pops up. And I took these two images directly from a GIF that was in motion. So instead of showing a link to your prototype, show your interaction through GIFs. It's much more interesting, much more engaging. It catches their eye, and they see that you can prototype because you're showcasing it through images that move through your user flows. Another thing that is often overlooked are research methods. You might see there are a lot of quotes out there. UX is not UX if you're not talking to users. It's just personal design. You really need to do your research with real people and get their feedback. UX is all about taking feedback from real users and making changes to make it a better, more delightful experience for the user. Don't forget to highlight your qualitative research. And if you have quantitative research, hopefully you do, put both of those on there. It's very, very important in the UX design process. Another thing that I talk about a lot is using imagery instead of long paragraphs. When you're using long paragraphs, people are probably not reading it, and it makes your case study really long. And you don't want them to be scrolling and scrolling or trying to read text. Show through imagery. Here's an example where you have a before and an after, and this is a great way to show your work. Before and after images, you don't have to talk about it. They can see at a glance what's happening, what work you did, and how it changed. So really get in that mindset of showing before and after work. It also shows that you did research. Hopefully you're getting your after images because of user feedback. And then you want to show your results. And if at all possible, you want to quantify your impact. So there's a couple ways to do that. You can put results or you can put outcome statement. And this will be at the end of your case study. Instead of saying this went well and this didn't go well, or in the future, I'd like to continue research, try to move away from that mindset and instead talk about results and outcomes. So here's just a couple of examples of how you can do this. The first one, underlined in red, reduced drop-off rates by 7% and boosted conversion rates by 2%. Those are quantifiable numbers. That's showing big impact based on your research. The next one is a little more generic. New clients in the first 2 days of launching the new website. So what do you do if you're not with a company and you can't quantify anything? I highly recommend going back to users and doing a second or third round of user testing. Then you can quantify the experience from when they first tried, from your first set of research and testing to your final product, and you can show how it's improved, how it's easier to use. And there's a lot of different ways you can get feedback on that. Just do some Googling on UX research methods, and that will give you a lot of ideas. The next one is to use graphs or charts if you can. Analytics is a really great way to go with websites. If you don't have access to analytics because these are personal projects, you can use heat maps. There are a lot of programs out there that are free, such as Hotjar. There are a lot of others. Do a heat map before, or if you haven't done that, you're just going to go back and update your research. Do a heat map after of where users are going and show that they're making it very easy. They're all going to the same place. That means you have good information architecture. That means you have good user flows in place. And that's one way to quantify and have a visual of the impact of your work. Next, we're going to talk about LinkedIn tips and tricks. Again, this is not a deep dive into your LinkedIn profile. There are other webinars I've done, and I know Career Foundry has a lot of resources around this, around your LinkedIn profile. But these are, I noticed a typo, should be tips and tricks. These will hopefully be some things to enhance your profile. The first thing that's often overlooked is your URL. So the top one is mine. It's Gayla Thompson versus, and I just Googled, or I just pulled somebody in a search, and it has their name followed by a lot of numbers, this string of numbers. You want to go in and customize that to just be your name. If you have a common name or somebody else has that, do it with that, which just like one number after. So we want to get rid of all of the numbers and just have your URL be your name, if at all possible. The next thing that's recommended is to take a skills test on LinkedIn. And if you look here, 70%, 6% of professionals are trying to find a way to stand out amongst other candidates. And according to LinkedIn, their website, their data shows that candidates with verified skills, which means they took a skills assessment, are around 30% more likely to be hired. So this is a way at a glance for employers to say, oh, they know their stuff. They know this topic. They understand this. They took this skills test and they passed. The good thing about LinkedIn is if you take it and you don't pass, nobody knows. And that's also good feedback for you. Like, oh, I really need to go in. There's some things I didn't know on that test, and I need to go back in and refresh my memory or do a deeper dive into certain areas and then retake the skills test. Once you do that, it pops on and it shows that you are proficient in that area of the assessment. Another thing I highly recommend is turning on creator mode. So creator mode is free. It's just a feature that LinkedIn has, and it can really help you grow your reach of people who see what you post. One of the things it does is it allows up to 5 hashtags per post. And so if you notice on this, I reposted a Career Foundry post. So they have their hashtags, and then I have mine. Some of them are the same, some of them are different. And when people are looking at your post, it will pull all of those hashtags to your post. So it's really great to use smart hashtags when you're posting on LinkedIn. Another thing it does is it gives access to your insights. So for that post that I just showed you, it shows me that there were 613 impressions. That means 600, at the time that I pulled this, 613 people saw my post. They may not have engaged, but that's a lot of people who are seeing my post. It shows me the reactions. There were 6, so not a lot here, not a lot of engagement. That tells me maybe I should have added more information or changed the way I'm setting up my posts. But this is good feedback to help you with the next time you post something. It also tells me the top demographics of unique users. So if somebody goes and looks at your post 2 or 3 times, there's still only one unique user. But this is telling me how many different people looked at it and where they're coming from. It also shows who viewed the profile after I made this post. And if you notice, this has 3 recruiters who looked at my profile when they saw this post, as well as employees from other companies. So if you're getting this information, you can see who's looking at it, and you can reach out to that person directly. It's a great way to get your foot in the door and make a new connection by using your insights from your posts. Another thing you want to do is add media. It's great to post some things, information and ideas, but show your work, show off your creativity. This will increase your engagement and it will differentiate you from others. The first image I have there in the red box, that's actually a video. Video is much more likely to be viewed and have engagement with comments and likes and reposts. Secondly, you can set up where you have, similar to a slideshow, where you have multiple images and then they click the little arrows to go through something. So you might tell a little story. You might show the process of something you created. I know this is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but the goal is to get hired. And the way to get hired is to stand out from other people. So it's definitely worth your time. And a lot of this you're doing anyway. Maybe you're practicing something. Maybe you're working on something. Spend an extra 15, 20 minutes putting a little presentation together and put it onto your profile post section. The whole point is to get people noticing you, and this is a great way to do that. Next, we're going to jump into some job search tips and tricks. So you might already have this done, but you want to set up job alerts. There are a lot of job boards out there that have this. And the great thing is, if your resume is good to go, you've updated it, everything looks great, that's a part of your profile on that job platform. And once you have that set up, a lot of these you can apply for the position with one click. You just go click and you've applied. And most of those do not require cover letters. So that will save you a lot of time and energy if you set this up and you can apply with one click. Another thing to do is explore company career pages. A lot of jobs do not get posted on job boards because companies have to pay for those job postings. And this is especially true for entry-level positions. They don't have to post because people are going to their webpage hoping to find something, and they don't have to. So if there are any companies you're interested in, check out their career pages frequently. If you do a LinkedIn post and you see somebody from that company looking at your post, click into that company and check out if there are any jobs open. Don't forget to look at the individual career pages versus just looking at LinkedIn or Indeed or something like that. This next part is really important. You want to update your social media profiles. I do not recommend using Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or any of those on your profile on your website. You do not want to include any personal social media files on your portfolio website. Everything should be professional. If you have business cards, you do not want that on your business cards. The only thing you want on your business card is LinkedIn. But what you also want to do is make sure those profiles do not have any inappropriate content, controversial content, and you really need to make them private. This study this was late 2023 by businessdaily.com, found that 55% of employers decided not to hire a candidate based on what they found when they did a Google search and they saw their social media. I know when I've hired people in the past, I always, if I'm really interested in hiring them for a project, I always Google them and look at their social media profiles. And so it's really important to go back and tidy that up and make it private. The next thing you want to do is apply for internships, apply for apprenticeships. TechFleet, it comes to mind. It's great because you don't have to have your portfolio completely built out yet. And then when you are in an internship or apprenticeship, you get experience working on a team that will be similar to a work environment as a UX designer. You'll work with product managers, a UX researcher, maybe another UX designer, maybe a UI designer, and then you'll work with dev. And that is really important experience that you can then translate to your LinkedIn profile, your resume, your cover letter, and your interviews. I know when I first graduated, it took me 4.5 months to get my first contract. And then after that, I struggled to get more work. So I signed up for a really big internship project. Once I completed that, I had recruiters calling me left and right. Once I posted all of that on my LinkedIn and updated my resume, it made a huge difference in my ability to get work without trying. So definitely look into internships. There are a lot of them out there. TechFleet is a great one, but there are a lot of others out there. And lastly, on job search tips and tricks, you don't want to forget to tell people what you're doing. So also this comes to mind on your LinkedIn, take off the word aspiring. You are not an aspiring UX designer. You are a UX designer. And you want to tell everybody, I am a UX designer. And that's your friends, your family, former colleagues, new introductions. Here's a true story. I was working with a recent graduate, this is about 1.5 years ago, who was a teacher who had 10 years teaching experience and had resigned from her position at the end of the summer to dive into her new career. But she hadn't told anybody that she knew personally. None of her family knew, none of her friends knew because she was scared. And I totally get that. We're all scared when we first start this process. But I encouraged her to tell everybody, and we were going to meet a week later. I said, in 1 week, I want you to tell all of your family, all of your friends, reach out to former colleagues, which would be all of her teaching friends, and anybody else, and let them know. And we're going to meet back in a week, and we're going to talk about it. 2 days after that, she talked to a friend and told the friend of her new career path. That friend connected her to a position they had for an entry-level person. And within 2 weeks, she was hired. And if she hadn't told them, she probably wouldn't have even known about that opportunity. It was not posted on the website. It was just known internally. They were about to start looking for an entry-level professional. So utilize those connections. And then lastly, we're going to talk about networking and digital business cards and how that can help you. So networking is super important. In addition to telling everybody you already know, you want to make new contacts, new connections. And notice here, I put the goal is at least 500 UX connections. So when I was in education, I had a lot of connections and a lot of followers, but all of my content was geared towards education. And then when I transitioned into UX, I had no UX connections. So you want to really strive for 500 UX connections. If you're brand new to LinkedIn, that might sound daunting, but just set aside a little time, 20, 30 minutes a day to connect with new people every day, every day. You're saying, well, I don't know who to connect with. How do I do this? I put in UX designer and people. This was last week. And over 720,000 people came up as UX designer. So there's your pool of UX designers right there. And you don't have to limit it to designers. You could put UX researchers, UI designers, developers, product managers. Network with anybody and everybody who might be on a team that you would be working with in your next position. Another thing is you want to connect with UX recruiters. So when I typed in UX recruiters, over 1.4 million people came up. That's twice as many UX recruiters as UX designers. So start networking now. Start making those connections and then start posting using those tips that I showed you earlier for LinkedIn. Another thing you can do is in-person events. So the two examples I posted on here from last week. The first event is UX Happy Hour. Notice it's with developers, it's with digital marketers, it's with product managers. That's a great group to join. It's a UX support group. These are people who would be your team members or your squad members. Get out there and start networking. If you live in a location where there aren't in-person events, go to online events. So this first one is UX design critique. Check something out like that. The second one, how PMs, product managers, use AI to increase their productivity. Check out something like that. You can start connecting with product managers who will think of you when jobs become available before they're ever even posted on their company website. So if you're nervous, push through it, know that you're growing, get out there and make it happen. This is how you get jobs. So many jobs happen through networking, through someone you know. So this part is really, really important. And the last thing we're going to talk about are digital business cards. So the traditional paper cards are really not used very often anymore. What happens is you hand your card out, you go to a networking event, or you meet somebody new and you want to introduce yourself and give them a card. They very likely will just throw it in the trash. At one time, I had 50 or 60 business cards stacked up and I just threw them all away because nobody wants to deal with that anymore. Digital business cards are amazing, and we're going to talk about some of those benefits. Number one, it's very easy to set up. You can set up a digital business card in under 5 minutes. There's no waiting. You can put it all together. But the great thing is you can instantly share information. So it will have a QR code. Somebody grabs that QR code and all of your information goes directly into their contacts on their phone. So we're not looking at a separate app. We're trying to figure out, I have contacts from this app, I have contacts to my phone. They all talk to each other and it goes immediately into their contacts on their phone. In addition to that, they can click then to share their information with you, and it will automatically be transferred their information right into the contacts on your phone. So this is really fun, really engaging. You have their information. And another thing is you can track the engagement. You can see when they're clicking into the app to look at your information. You can see if they are forwarding you to somebody. You can see, obviously, if they chose to share their information with you. So you can gauge who's interested and who's not by having the digital the digital business card. Another thing is you can easily update your information. So let's take that LinkedIn URL example. If you have a URL on LinkedIn with a string of numbers after it, and you go in and you change it where it's only your name, you can easily update this in under 15 seconds on your phone, and the contact information will be updated automatically. So there's no having to print new business cards with your updated information, none of that. It happens instantaneously. So if you don't have a digital business card yet, think about doing it. It makes it fun too when you meet people that way. So one of the cards, digital business cards that I like is called Blink. It's Blink BLINQ.me. There are a lot of them out there. I'm not an affiliate with them. It just happens to be what I have on my phone, and I know a lot of people who use it. And as you can see on the example on the right, you can have on the top an image that will link, if they click on it, directly to your portfolio website. They have your picture there, and I highly suggest you use the same picture on your business card as you have on your LinkedIn, as you have on your portfolio. You want them to recognize you immediately by using the same photo throughout all of your personal branding. And then they get your email, and I do recommend a personal email on this. You might change jobs, and then if you change jobs, they lose your email. So make sure you have personal email, personal phone number, your LinkedIn, and your portfolio website. This particular one, and a lot of them are similar, they offer free versions. So this one, you get 2 free business cards. I set mine up. I think it took me a total of 4 minutes. Totally worth your time. And this was a scrolling bar on the website. This is a screen grab of some of the companies that are currently using Blink. And you see some big ones out there, Remax, Google, Uber, and there are a lot more out there. So if you haven't done it, if this is new or you thought about it and haven't done it, I highly suggest you go ahead and create a digital business card and then start using it when you connect with people. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. And I want to go ahead and give you some time to open it up for questions. So I'll let Belinda come back online and help me out with that.
Here I am. Thank you so much, Gayla. I'm just super impressed that everyone you are here with us. You bring such a great insights, great advice, new content. It's really, really amazing. I'm super grateful you are here with us and we spend this session with you. So thank you so much. Also for the great job you have put on the presentation as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We have many questions from the audience. I'm sorry I have a candy on my mouth because I have like my throat not so good. So sorry.
It's that time of year. It's that time of year. We get
it. Right. So yeah, we have so many questions from the audience. Thank you everyone for all of the questions. And so we can start addressing all of them because we have many. And also I love the people engaged in the chat as well. So thank you so much for interacting there. So I would like to open the Q&A with a question from Teja because it's great to start. And the question is, how can I start UX design? He just finished high school.
Oh, fantastic. So the great thing about UX design is you do not need a college degree for UX design. And even if the job posting says a college degree, ignore it and apply anyway. What you do need is a really good UX design training program. Obviously, I highly recommend Career Foundry. It taught me everything I needed to break into the workforce immediately out of school. So you do want to have a really good training program where you have mentors that you work with directly. You can have as many calls at Career Foundry with mentors as you want to. And they give you a lot of valuable feedback and insight to your work and how to get better. But you absolutely do not need a degree to be a UX designer.
Amazing. Thank you, Gayla. So you recommend a training program, not a degree?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, then let's go back. We have many questions regarding all the content you just shared. We have a question from Emma. What would you say in an interview if they ask if you used AI for your resume cover letter?
I always recommend being honest. Honesty and transparency speak volumes to what kind of person they are looking to add to their team. I would just say yes. See, I did use AI to grab keywords, just the examples I showed you, What are some of the key words? And it helped me really gather my thoughts and highlight my experience and my skills. That's it.
Amazing. Would it be helpful also like to explain all the process, the tool you use, something like that, so you show that you know AI?
Yeah, you absolutely. You can, like on the example I showed today, say, yes, I went to Chat GPT and I typed in, action verbs for resumes. And it helped me think of action verbs that better suited the work that I did. What you absolutely do not want to do is a copy and paste straight from AI. They will recognize that, and it's not a good look for you. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay, let's go over the question from Kia. So when connecting with UX designers you don't know, should you add a note?
Always add a note. Always. If you can find something about them that's interesting, that's complimentary, that's genuine and authentic, include it. Maybe you read a really interesting article that they wrote, or they posted something that you saw through another connection that you have. You can reach out and click connect, and in the note say, I'm a new UX designer and I saw your post on this and it really resonated with me because of whatever. I'm trying to grow my professional network and would love to connect. If you don't have any of that information, maybe you're from the same geographic area, maybe you're from the same school. If you don't have that, you can just say, I'm new in UX design and I'm looking to grow my UX design network. I would love to connect with an experienced professional such as yourself. Always include some kind of note.
Amazing. Also, I would like to add that Gayla was with us in December as well, and she covered also those topics, super insightful regarding the notes when you are connected. And the webinar is available in our YouTube channel and also on our on-demand page. So you can have a look, check that out because it's really insightful as well. Okay, let's go from a question from Alan. Do you have to customize your resume every time you apply for a new job to ensure the right keywords are in there for the specific job?
I think that's an answer of it depends. If you have a really stellar resume set up, you shouldn't have to do that. However, if you go into the job description and they're looking for very specific experience, very specific skills, and it doesn't match what your resume has, then you do want to go in and make a new resume for that position. But most of the time with UX job postings, what a company is looking for is very similar. But it doesn't hurt to look at that and incorporate their language that they use into your resume and definitely into your cover letter.
Great. We have some questions, many questions with comments as well. So I would like to read those to get more context. So Brad has a question. How realistic are these ideas for juniors or those with no experience? Most of my time in junior roles has been spent doing very little about UX work. So it doesn't feel honest to say I built an app.
So if I'm understanding the question right, is saying has some experience, but not a lot of UX design work was actually done in that role. You're still a UX designer. And what you want to do is highlight anything that's transferable to another UX design role. So maybe you did a lot of just looking at scripts and help take notes during user interviews, but you were still collaborating with the team. You were still involved in user interviews. You were still creating the test script yourself the interview script. So highlight the work that is transferable. You are a UX designer, and every company is different. Some companies do that. Other companies throw you in there, and you're doing the same type of work as a senior designer.
So it's a way to find out how to showcase, how to show the own skill you already have, because you have.
Yeah, and you want to do that through your case studies. Definitely highlight what you do through your case studies. Your case, once you get past ATS and they look at your resume and cover letter, the very next thing they will do is go to your portfolio website, and they'll probably click on the first case study you have on the site, unless they're looking for something specific like website or something like that. The case studies are what will get you hired.
Great. We have a very interesting question from Lucia. If someone already has senior experience in other roles, do they need to start from an entry-level UX design position?
Again, it depends. In most companies, the answer is yes. I was at the top of my game in education. I was as high up as I could go. And I started with an entry-level UX position. There's so much that you don't know, like on a daily basis. Maybe you don't know to think to ask something. And the only way to do that is to get in there and work as a designer. So you most likely will have to. The caveat to that is if you get in with a startup, they may just hire you and treat you like a senior UX designer, which could be maybe a little overwhelming and stressful. So yes, most likely you will start as an entry-level designer. The good thing is once you have a couple years experience, you will very likely be considered for senior roles after that.
Could help you to faster like the growth process, right?
Yes.
Good. Great. We have so many questions. I would love to address all of them, but unfortunately we have time. So let's try to address a few of them. So Anna is asking, what AI tools do you recommend to enhance your CV as a UX designer?
I only use ChatGPT. There are a lot of other programs out there. Feel free to explore and dive into those and see what works for you. I only use it for inspiration or to help jog my memory on something. But there are a lot of different programs that you can use.
Great. Actually, there is a super nice Career Foundry articles regarding the AI tools that you can use for the job search. So I would like to share this one in the chat so you can check that out. And there are a lot of nice information there. Okay, let's go back to the questions. Gregory says thank you for all of this today. Can you clarify if ATS is looking at cover letters as well, or specifically for the resume?
It depends on the company. Yeah. Definitely resumes, but a lot of companies screen cover letters that way as well. So definitely could be used with both. But it depends on the company.
Nice. Okay, so Paul is asking, how big encompassing should a portfolio be before someone can feel confident to start applying for jobs?
Yeah. So I recommend at least 3 really strong case studies. 4 is better. 3 to 6 is kind of the goal. But what you don't want to do is have 1 really great case study or 3 great case studies and then 2 weak ones that are not great or not, there's no research involved. You didn't do high fidelity, something like that. Just to have extra case studies on your portfolio. If you have 3 solid case studies, you're ready to apply.
Great. Always showcasing the best of your work, right?
And only showcasing your best work. Exactly.
Great. I remember that because Gayla also did a great webinar regarding how to create a standout portfolio, which is also available. So you can check them out in our YouTube channel. Okay, let's take the last question for today. We have a very interesting question from Shayla. Do you recommend taking on freelance jobs while learning UX UI design to gain experience and further build your portfolio before graduating and looking for a full-time job?
If you can get freelance work before you graduate, go for it. Absolutely. You might be scared. You might not know everything, and that's okay. What you do is you figure it out while you're doing the work. Yeah, I would take up any opportunity to get experience.
Because you will learn a lot, and that's what matters at the beginning, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Okay. We try to address many of your questions. I'm sorry. We have so many, Gayla, today. So many. I'm really sorry we couldn't address all of them, but I hope you have enjoyed so much and hopefully you learned many tips to finally get that job in the field. I would like to thank Gayla for the great presentation and for answering all of the questions in a great way, always giving great advice. So thank you so much, Gayla.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And still, if you have any questions, you can reach out via LinkedIn or via email as well. I'll be sending tomorrow a recording of the webinar via email, also with further details. And I know we are a little bit over time, but I'll ask just for a couple of more minutes to give you some nice information you might find interesting. So if there is here anyone interested in a career change into UX design, actually Career Foundry is offering the biggest discount of the year. A New Year scholarship worth up to $1,520 and €1,328 of the UX and UI design programs. And if you would like to receive more information, you can book a call with one of our program advisors by simply clicking on the sticky note that you can see at the top of the chat. Also, if you want to learn further, Career Foundry offers has different resources. One of them is our YouTube channel, where you can watch great video content regarding UX and UI design. Also, our social media accounts, TikTok, Instagram, and also the Career Foundry articles, where you can read great articles about UX, UI design, and more topics. And also, if you enjoy this session, I kindly recommend you to check out our events page because we have more great sessions like this one. Big thank you to all the team supporting the event. Big thank you to Gayla for being with us. Big thank you to all of you for joining us today. We wish you a great day and all the best in your job search. And goodbye. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.